Alright, welcome back. We have a revision to our standard Izzet Kuldotha deck with some new strategies. So Izzet Kuldotha, or Kuldotha Red, is an old deck that has a similar effect to Gleeful Demolition. 1 red, you can destroy an artifact. If you control the artifact, you get 3/1/1 Phyrexian Red Goblins. And so the purpose of the deck is a very simple go wide strategy to flood the board with tokens and then win the game. So as we said, we have Gleeful Demolition in our one spot. We have many 1-drops. How do we get our artifacts for Gleeful Demolition? Well, we have Volderin Epicure, which gets you a blood token. We also have Combat Courier, which is a 1/1 with Unearth and can also draw you a card. We also have Eater of Virtue, which is a legendary Bone Splitter, if you know what that card is. Then we have Third Path Iconoclast, so whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a 2/1 Soldier colorless artifact creature token, so your tokens can also be artifacts as well. And then we have Squee, which is a hasty goblin that makes more goblins and can come back from your graveyard with the second ability. And then, so we have all these ways to generate creatures, and then we have, of course, Imodane's Recruiter. I don't play white because that's not what I'm doing, but the other half that's a creature is pretty powerful when you have many tokens on the field. And then we also have Jaya, Fiery Negotiator, which creates prowess creatures, tokens. It also is a removal spell, or it can dig through your library for another spell to play. We also have our Monastery Swiftspear, a very good hasty creature that is aggressive. And then we have our disruption spells. We have a Fading Hope to bounce a creature, and we also have Voltage Surge. Our lands are pretty basic. Islands and mountains. We have our Kamigawa lands as well, and then our red, blue lands as well. For the sideboard, what do we have here? So we have Spell Pierce against control decks or things that want to resolve a non-creature spell. Surgical Spell Bomb against mid-range decks to bounce their big creatures that are mana intensive and it keeps on drawing you cards. It's also an artifact that you can sacrifice to Gleeful Demolition. Unlicensed Hearse for Graveyard also dies to your Gleeful Demolition if you want. Lithomantic Barrage for white and blue decks, and also Mana Dorks. We also have Scalding Viper, another tempo play attached to a 2/1 creature which has incidental damage on the other half when your opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less. And then lastly we have Blue Sun's Twilight, so another additional removal spell, usually against creatures that have low power decks or low to the ground decks. So as you run out of your removal spells, you can then follow up and take one of their creatures that remains with Blue Sun's Twilight. A very inexpensive deck. It's basically $1 per card if you don't count Otawara, which is $1,000,000. Everything else you can probably find in your garbage can at your local store, except also the Stormcarved Coast. But yep, this deck has been pretty consistent and doing well in the platinum rank, and so I decided to post my revisions to the deck and see what everyone else is doing. Alright, that is all we got, so have a good day.